Okay, so today we talk about the static members and the overriding method. Okay, so um, first we will review the sum of contents we learned um, last week. So first, you need to know how to declare a class. Okay, so for the class, you need to know first access modifier, okay, which help you to limit the access from other class, right? Then a keyword class, okay? Then you need a class name, okay? So first of all, the class name, you have to follow the naming rules, okay? You cannot use the reserved word or start with numbers, okay? Most importantly, make sure your class name is understandable and meaningful, okay? Because in the future, if you have like 100 classes, sometimes you will lost which class include the method you need if you don't have a good name for that class, right? Okay. Then one class, they have instance variables, okay? The instance variables we talk about, it can be used for global. Okay, sometimes we call it global variables, which means the global variables can be used entire class. Once you declare as the first in this class, right? So the same thing, the class, the members, the instance variables, they do have access modifier, right? So using access modifier, you can limit other object of class to use those variables, okay? So in this example, we have 3 private instance variables, which means they only can be used in this class, Amber, right? Okay. But if other class want to access those instance variable, how can they access? How can they access? What do we need to access those variables? You want to set the title, you want to set the artist, you want to set the sales, even you want to get those value, like what's the album title, what's the album's artist, what's the price. How can you get those value? Yeah, we use public setter and getter, right? It also can be said is accessor and mutator, all right? So once we have those public method, which means other class can access using a method rather than private instance variables, right? The method always gives you more potential operation like space, right? You can give some condition to allow other class to get the value, right? For example, last time we talked about like age, right? What's the age they cannot get the value, right? Using a different condition in the method, we definitely we can limit some access to other people, right? Then we know how to declare the constructor. Okay, the constructor you have has the same name as class name, okay, including the capitalized, okay? Class name emblem, constructor method emblem, right? If we leave here as empty, which means it's default constructor, okay? The default constructor means once we create an object of album, we can automatically assign the title, artist, and the cell to those values. Right? Still remember last class we talked about using the furniture, right? The polywood, number of drawer, right? So for that furniture company, they by the default they only do the polywood and the 3 drawers, right? But they access customized furniture, right? Which means we need the customized constructor. Okay, so this is a customized constructor which allowed user to assign the instance variable, the value, right? For example, here you got title, artist, sales. Okay, we want the user, okay, that has ability to initialize every members using constructor. Okay, so this is a constructor allow you to access title, artist, sales, right? Yes. Okay, so here last class we talked about using the this. Okay, this is means the current object using this class. Okay, so that means, okay, if we call this constructor, okay, which object call? All right, so let's say the example, okay, for the example. Okay, how to create an object for the oven? Just to talk about the syntax. How to create the object. Yes? How to create the object of oven. Right? What? Oh no, the object. How to create the object. Oh, that takes the. Yeah, the syntax. I want to create an object of oven. What's the code? String? Okay. How you guys create the object of scanner? How you create a scan? Okay. Right? Scanner It's a class. Scan, object reference, keyword, new, class name, constructor. This line helps you to create its object of scanner in the memory. Okay? This is an object reference. You give name for this object. Okay? Same example. How to create objects of oven. How? Let me try. Cody? Okay, one name. Okay. There. New. Okay. Okay. If I leave here empty, that means this AL. Okay. We assign this title as rumors. Object Fleetwood Mac, and give this cell. Right? Okay. So AL is one of object's reference name, right? Okay. So if I call this one, okay, oven A1, new oven A, B, 20. Okay, then tell me what about this stand for. What's this? This is A1 or AL? Who used this customized constructor? Who? A1, right? Not AL. Correct? Okay, so you need to know this, what this stand for. Stand for an object which named as A1. Okay? Make sense? That makes sense? Yeah. Okay. Then we can write methods. Okay, so for this class, we got two different methods. Okay, one is for the getter, another is for the setter. Okay, the getter helps you to get the value of instance variable. The set helps you to assign the value to the instance variable, right? Okay, so here is the formal format, okay? The getter makes sure the access modifier is public, okay? Second, you need to make sure return type is consistency with the value, okay, you want to return. Okay, in this example, we want to return the value of title, right? We need to make sure the title, okay, using a string. So this method, you have to use a string. Okay, because we only want to return the value of title, right? So in a parameter, you don't have to fill anything there. Okay, if you return something, keyword return, it have to be included. Okay, make sense? Then we have a setter. Okay, so for this setter, we want to set the value for the cell. Okay, so basically here, you need the user to set the value of cell, right? So in here, consistency with the value you want to set. Okay, for the cell, return type int, user have to use in the int. So you basically give the constraint. All right, once you get the value from the user, you assign this one to here. What's the problem here? Any problem with this type of code? That problem? For the method set cell. David? Yes. You have to add this, okay? Because this means the user, the object of this variable, okay? And this cells means the user want to customize, okay? So if I want to use an A1 dot set cell, we give the value 10. Basically, this means A1 dot cells. Okay? This helps you to recognize which variable they want to access using which object. Okay, if I want to draw a picture, it could be something like this. This is a memory. Once you create an object, they will reserve one space for this object, right? So for example, this A1. A1 is object reference. They point to this object you just create. I create A, B, 20, right? If I call the method set cell, set cells, right? Set cells to 10. We want to set this object. Basically, we need to use A1 to call this method, right? Then we get into here. So this is 10. We assign here 10. And this 10 go over here. This dot cell is A1 dot cell, right? Which basically, if you trade, which is 20, right? We want to reassign to the 10. Okay? So you need to understand what this means. Okay? Question? Any question? Good. Okay. Okay, today we will talk about the static one. The static members. we use static members last semester, okay, from class math, right? As I said, the math class, all the methods, they are static. Also, they include constant value using a static file, right? Okay, so for the math class, why we set all the approach, the method is static? Why do we need make all the method is static in a math class? David?
I think it's because you can use it anywhere.
You can use it anywhere.
Have to use
What's the difference? Like album with math class. Why album that cannot be like some method cannot be static? Okay, but that's good answer as well. Okay, which means the math class. Okay, all the method you can use in anywhere, but with condition. What condition? You need to make sure all the method won't be changed based on the object. Let's say an example. Okay. So first, you can create a static instance variable, the method, okay, right? So in this example, if we want to create the static variable, we just put static over there, okay? Static with the method, okay? So this is an example. We try to create a static method. Okay, the static method, if you still recall how you call that method, the static method. Can you recall the method, the math method, the math class? How you call the method? Max? How you call that? Think about. So everyone used this class before, right? How you call this class? How you call the method from that class? Any solution? Then what's that? What's the word before that? Math? So you mean like math? Maybe 5, 7. In this one? Or you do something like this? Using the M to be which one? Okay. So first, you need to know all the members in the math class, they are static. Okay? All the static members, you can call them using the class name. Okay? What that mean? Is that means a class, they have two members. One is static, one just non-static. Right? Static members belong to class. Okay, which means you can use class name dot static members name. Non-static members doesn't belong to class, but belong to who? Belong to who? Belong to who? Belong to object. Right? Why do I say it belong to object? Think about example. You have a method, get name. Okay, so this is non-static method. Okay, right now you create two objects. Okay, for students class. The student class has get name. Okay, so one student are using this way. Okay, as one new student. Okay, Matt. I create another object with object reference S2. Save. Okay, if I call S1 dot get name, S2 dot get name, the value will be different or be same. What's the value for? the value would be different, right? Correct? So, which means this get name method doesn't belong to class, but belongs to object who call this method, right? So for the S1, the object is different, right? This object has a name is Matt. S2, object has a name is Dave, right? Once you call the same method, but they return different variables value, right? Okay, back to another example. So we're back to this example, math. Okay, math has a variable, static final variable. It's called pi. As we said, static members, they only belong to the class. Okay, so if I call this one, the value would be right 3.14159 something, and always be this number. And this number never be changed, right? So this is belong to class. Make sense? Okay. If I do the same thing, if I change, for example, if we do have an object for mass, okay, m dot what's the result for two of them if we're using the same value? It should be same, right? So which means this step is not necessary because we know this max method only belongs to class and never be changed based on the object, right? Okay, so now you should be able to understand what's the difference between non-static and static members. Okay? Then I will give another example. Okay, so now everyone understand what's this for, right? And you should be able to understand how to use them. Okay, because this means which object called this variable or method, right? So read this code. What's this code for? And what this list stands for. Okay, first tell me what's this code trying to do. Yes. Yes. Okay, so get the passing rating for the quarterback, right? But quarterback, they may have different objects for this quarterback, right? We only give the property how you defined for the quarterback and how you calculate this quarterback for the passing rate. Okay, but sometimes we want to use some method they already have in this class. For example, we want to format the result of the passing rate. Okay, and in the same class, we can call this. Okay, so if we create the object for the quarterback, we give the value, okay, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, just an example. This method will automatically, based on those instance variable, to calculate the rating of this quarterback, which we assign with value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Right? Then this means this object of quarterback with value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 return the value of get passing rate. Okay, you should understand what this stands for. Question? We try to make this code identical. Okay, so first of all, this public get, let me just do it. This method is public, right? We can use this method name in the same class, right? But sometimes you need an identical way to make people know, okay, this method from same class. For example, if this class has 100 lines, if I only give you something like this, get passenger rating, how can you be sure this method come from this class. It still works. Yes, but it will confusing you, and sometimes you will make a mistake. For example, you gave same method name, right? So if you're using the this only return the method include in this class. Question? So now you should know this can be called for the same method and the same variable, right? And help the system identify the method which belong to this class, right? Let's say this example. First of all, tell me what this code trying to do. What's this code trying to do? Yes, Nathan. Yes. Right. So this is a method help you to compare two objects of student class, right? So first, this class, this method has parameter using the student's class, right? So this other, it means the object you want to compare. You give a name is other, okay? So compare to who? We want to compare with current object, which you just call this method, right? So we're using this. This means the class just the object just call this method, and the others in this method is called another object. You're just trying to compare. Right? So for example, here, student, why this? Okay, student 1, new student, okay? Another student 2 with new student. S1 dot is duplicate with S2. Which one is this? Which one is the other? S1, S2. We use S1 to call the method. Just tell me who stand for list and who stand for other. Still is one, S1, S2 for this or other. I can hear you. Yeah, so if we go here, so this stands for S1, what's that for S2? This one. S2? Okay. So first of all, we say this duplicate belongs to the object. Right? Is that right? Okay. So who called this method? Which object reference called this method? That's one. Which means if duplicate method belong to S1. Right? Make sense? So this means S1. Okay? And the duplicate we put S2 into there. So basically it's match primitive data type right here. We're using S2. So S2 is other. Okay? That makes sense? Question? Question? Good. Okay. Let's get a dip into the memory. Okay. So the first two lines, we create object. Right? Correct? We have two objects and assign the two different objects reference, S1, S2. Right? Okay. Then we use S1 to call the method is duplicate. Because this is S1, right? So this stands for this object, right? The both object reference point to the same object, right? The second part, we're trying to compare with other. In this method, we input S2 as other, right? So then we compare with this other. Then return the value, true or false, right? Question? Question? Good. Then we'll talk about overriding. First, you look at this if I have a class Amber, okay, we try to print the variable of the object variable of this album you're trying to create. Right, first line, we create the one object of album, right? The second line, we just want to print this album. Okay? Unfortunately, you can't. Even you know the album title, artist, and the sale, but it doesn't mean they can print exactly what you want. The result will be something like this. This is address of memory, but not the description of this album, right? How can we print? Just using the object reference to print what we need. We're using the toString method. Okay, first thing you need to know, toString method. So all the class, they have toString method automatically. Okay, this is the first thing you need to keep in mind. Okay, but it doesn't mean they already set up, already formatted. Okay, if I create its album, initially they have toString with empty method. Okay, so if you want they print this object with the format you want, you need override the method. This is overriding method. You already have existing method. You want make existing method perform in different way. Okay? Because initially for this example, the album cannot perform correctly. We try to make them to print with title, artist, and sales. Okay? So this is the method. Can print those things for you. Okay? First of all, make sure the format, you have to keep consistency. Okay? Public string toString with return. Okay? This 4 parts you have to be same. Another part is body of toString. Basically, what kind of information you want to return when they directly call the object. Okay, so for this one, we want call this object A to print the title, artist, and the cell. So we just put the variable into here. Okay, if I change it in this way, this is a value will print instead of this one. Okay, this is called overriding. But what is overloading? Last class we talked about overloading. What is overloading? Still remember? What is overloading? Yes. With different parameters. Same method name with different parameter. Okay, the different parameter means with different number of parameter, with different order parameter, with different data type of parameter. Okay, but exist using the same method name. Okay, but overriding, we only has one. Okay, we try to reverse the existing one. Okay, based on the requirement. Okay, why? Because all the class inherit from the class object. And the class object has two very essential methods. One is toString, empty. One is equal. Empty one. Okay, so when you create a customized class, for example, open, they automatically inherit these two methods, toString equals, without any method body. Okay? If you want to use them, to try to fill with method body. Right? This is called overriding. Okay? Make sense? Okay? So toString, they inherit from object class. Okay, currently you don't have to understand what is object class, but you know all the class they inherit from object, which means every class. For example, the scanner. Okay, scanner. String. Okay. Number format. Okay, all the existing class, they all inherit object. The object class always has these two methods, empty method. If you want to use this method, you need in your class to override. Okay? Then you can use the object reference of class to print something you need. Another one is equals. The equals method help you to return true or false if the one you're trying to compare. Okay? For example, you have a class. You don't know whether this one can be cast into the Auburn class. So we need to call this method. This method has a format and very easy to follow. Okay, first one, keyword instance of, which is O, right? We try to compare this object, whether this object is instance of Auburn. If it's not, we return false. If it's yes, we're trying to compare whether they are equal. Okay, the same thing. Still remember what's this for? Auburn. Curly breaks. That looks like very similar. We learned last semester. Yes? No? Okay, try this one. Double with 1. What's this one will return? Yes. 1.0. So we force this 1, the integer 1, converts into the double, if they can convert. The same thing, we try to convert this object to the class Auburn. If they can convert, definitely they can compare, right? Then give us the value. Okay, so two methods you need to understand and follow the format, okay, to override. Okay, so if we're doing something like this, we create two objects, okay, with same value, right? But are they equal? Are they the same object? No? Yes? No? Yes? It's no or yes? The answer, yeah, Bryce? No. They are different objects, right? But we can compare with value, which we use the equal. Equal can help you to compare with every instance variable's value. If the value returned is the same, we call them equal. Okay? But they are different objects. Okay? All right. Last question. The following method header are an example of what? What's the answer? David? B? Anything different? Yeah, Hunter? E? Okay, the answer, overloading. Okay, the overloading means same name with different signature. Okay, overriding is what? The same name, same parameter. Okay, especially we used at inherited, something like that. Okay, object. Okay, if you inherit like father, here is another subclass son. Maybe father has a method. Okay, maybe sing song. Okay, but he can sing the Spanish song. You can inherit, but you can't to sing Spanish. But you can convert, overwrite to say I can sing French song, Chinese song, right? The body is different, but the method is the same. Okay, so this is called overriding. Right? Any question? No? That's for class today.